On Face to Face today, we are on a hunt for a new coach. Well, everybody is looking for a new coach for the Black Stars. 3 people, though, have been given the specific job of doing that in 3 days. And I believe they are busy making calls and checking and looking at videos of people who have done a good job after our coach, Siki Akono, was fired. On Face to Face, we'll interview someone who has been involved at the helm of affairs of Ghana football and Ghana sports to see how these things are done and what mistakes we made and how we should not repeat them. My name is Umaru Sandamadu. You're welcome to Face on City TV. My guest was instrumental in the lead up to the 2008 campaign of the NDC that saw Professor Atta Mills winning. He served in the Mills government at a very close range at the time. He was Deputy Minister for Trade, he became Deputy Minister for Local Government, he was made Minister for the controversial area of sports. But that's not the only controversy around him. On election night in 2020, he was in police custody. He's the MP for Ododo Diodio. Honorable Nii Lante Vanderpuye, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm blessed.
I forgot to tell my listeners that you were also doing this job once in the past. you were running commentary.
Yes.
Do you miss that?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do, especially when I listen to commentaries and they are lousy.
Would you find some of them lousy or all of them?
Many of them very lousy.
Is it the Akan one you find lousy or both English and Akan?
Well, let me specifically say the local languages one. Not only Akan. I've also listened to a commentary in Ghana before, and I didn't see it.
Is it the shouting that you don't like?
Yes, that is a major issue because in broadcasting, you project, you don't shout. And also, the imitation, trying to imitate people, you must be yourself, you must have your own identity. I learned at the feet of Joe Latte, but I could never be like Joe Latte. I have to create my own identity. When people listen here, any voice on radio, they could easily identify this Nii Lante Vanderpuye, but not Nii Lante Vanderpuye who is trying to be Joe Latte. And that's the difficulty I have with many of these commentators in contemporary broadcasting.
Copy.
Not, should we say, this one is not copy and paste.
It's just copy and say. Copy and say. But could it be that your GBC days are long gone? So there's a lot of change now. Commentators have some.
It's an art. And it has a particular formula that you have to follow. You just have to add your own ingenuity to make it, let me say, like you. But as far as the structure of commentary is concerned, the world over is the same. The only difference you can have is when you are on radio and when you are in television. But as far as style is concerned, it's the same. We have basic, let me say, principles, like time. At least every 5 to a quarter, you must identify time, let people know.
That's on radio?
Even television. Okay. Television, you can't always see the scoreboard give you the time. So you must tell people how much time we have played. Also, you must also identify, on radio, you must identify where the action is. And on TV, people will see that we are maybe in Manchester United's area or in Chelsea's area of the field. But on radio, you must let people know. They don't do these things.
They don't?
They don't. They only continually shout. And the worst part is the fact that when they pick a particular pitch in their voice, they don't know when to calm down, when to heighten the expectation of the listener, and where to bring the expectations down.
But sports is exciting, it's anxious, so maybe they want you to have that feel throughout.
But you can't. So if the ball goes out of play, will you still be shouting? Yeah,
you have to let people know that the ball went out of play in a dramatic fashion. That if it went over the bar.
There's a way you can keep the anxiety, the joy, the pleasure of the listener without necessarily shouting.
But is it a
technique?
Is it a sports presenter's thing or is journalism general? You have taught at the Ghana Institute of Journalism before. So you practice at GBC, you taught at GBC. Is it that journalism as a profession itself is losing?
No, you see, we are not really interested in standards now. provided the person has a good voice, the person could speak good English. I've seen that with news reading on the various networks. When I listen to your news and you mispronounce a word, I will tell you. If your tone is wrong, I will tell you. If your pitch is wrong, I will call you personally and tell you. You will listen to me, some people wouldn't. So sometimes we are restrained in trying to give those good advice, expert advice that we have picked up from our long years of training and also educating ourselves in that field. For example, even in the house, when we are communicating, I'm always correcting my children on the correct pronunciation because I was a broadcaster. My wife was a broadcaster. My wife was a newsreader.
Oh, really?
On radio and television
Okay.
in GBC.
Okay.
And I was also a presenter on radio and television. So the basic pronunciation guide is always at our bedside. The Daniel Jones is always around. And we try to impart that into our children. And so when I'm sitting, I'm listening to somebody on radio and the person mispronounced or the person's speech is not accurate. Why do you think choir masters, when they want people to sing and the person, somebody starts that, even if the organizer uses the wrong pitch, he will say, no, change it.
Start all over.
Because it may make the sound odd. It may make the whole song not come out well. So those are the things that we need to do
But
in order to keep
journalism
the
has
standards.
grown beyond the things you're talking about, beyond all those
BBC
things.
has always been BBC. They've kept their standards. They may tinker with the way they do things, but the standard is there. CNN said, CNN didn't used to do some adverts. Now they are doing a lot of adverts. They are doing certain things that you wouldn't normally see CNN, but the standard of presentation is the same. And that's what we must always keep. Keep the standards.
What don't you like on our TV or on our radio, aside the football commentary?
You mean City?
No,
Generally.
Ghana, yeah.
Oh, a lot. News reading, especially the Akan news reading, is horrible. It's like they are telling their own stories and not giving you any information. You know, putting emphasis where it's not necessary. You don't have to add anything to the news that will make the news sensational. No.
Don't embellish it.
Don't. You don't. Because you see, it's a very serious business. You are giving information out there. News is not entertainment. News is information. So give it. If you are doing entertainment programs, it's a different thing altogether. If you're a musical program, you can do that and embellish it. You can dance your way off even when you're presenting a song. That's why nobody cares about that. But news reading is a serious business.
And I think that's a good point to dovetail into communication. Your former candidate into the elections of 2020 and indeed 2016 is a communicator.
Yeah.
He has gone to communicate using a phrase that has put your party in a very, very defensive position now, considering that your party was fighting or die be die. You are now defending do or die. Communication failure there?
No. It's just because people want to make some, let me say, unnecessary, create a storm in the cup. You understand?
Really?
This is a phrase that has been used severally, has been used on almost all platforms. Even I've heard a pastor use it in a church.
Which pastor?
Well, I wouldn't want to mention a name to you, but I've seen a pastor tell me, look, going to heaven is a do or die affair.
Yeah, but definitely you have to die before you go to heaven, so that's fine.
No, what he's telling you is that you have to take going to heaven as a serious business. Dedicate yourself to it. Because if you miss heaven, you are going to hell.
Nana Akufo-Addo, according to lots of analysts, lost the elections of 2012 because of the all die be die approach he went into that election with. And that phraseology haunted him to date. Your side was opposed to that phraseology.
So far,
Why would you go and repeat the same thing, considering that it's subject to miscegenation?
So far, I've listened to many, let me say, people who are not political, people who are in the middle, conscientious Ghanaians, people hitherto, I myself, when they're going to talk, I get some jitters because I don't know where they are going to shift their opinion. And all of them have said that, look, this is much about nothing. It's not anything that is unsavory, is unseen, is nauseating. It is not something that we should even waste time on.
It could have been said in a better way, you don't think?
No. Unless somebody wants to take it out of the context, he said it. He said that these elections is a do or die affair. We must be vigilant at the polling station. We must be vigilant at the coalition center.
Even
we
if
must
it
take
means
it
dying.
that these particular elections is our break point.
But it cannot be. That
It
cannot
can.
be. The country
As a
has,
party,
we have a lot
as
of
a
years
party,
ahead
the
of us.
future of the party is much more important. If we break the let me say, the interest, the support of our party people, the grassroots, we may not get it again with these elections. If we lose 2024, it will be difficult again to revive the spirits of our party.
Their parties have lost more than that, but they still won.
But those parties are not the NDC.
Yeah, but you've lost.
The circumstances under which we lost the 2020 elections calls for a revival of spirit, a reconscientization of the people within the party to understand that our future as a party is dependent upon the outcome of the 2024
by
elections.
inciting them to violence and saying that they should be willing to die.
Inciting them to vigilance.
You're making them
Inciting them to be more
suicide bombers.
serious. You inciting them to be more serious, be more committed, more loyal to the cause of the party. That's what do or die means. I've used that phrase more than 100,000 times in my 25 years on radio. I've used it several times. Look, I've seen many. In fact, it used to be the most common of all the, let me say, football phrases that I have known my late brother Samuel Kaite to use. I've seen Emmanuel Moakon when he was at Daily Graphic Sports write about serious matches. I've heard so many times it's been used by Kemede Akon, it's been used by Felisa Bayate. All this, Kobana Yeboah has used it 1,000 times. Why was Kobana Yeboah calling for war?
That's on the football pitch. But when you talk about an election where we know the violence, you yourself on election
It's
night,
an idiomatic expression.
there were
which you can
gunshots,
use.
and you are saying to people to go to the polling station with a do or die at fair.
Go
That
to
is
the
an
police
entirely
station with a
different thing.
do or die
That's
attitude.
a war zone mentality. You're not going to war. You're going to cast a ballot.
Go to the election process, not only the election day, the election process with a do or die attitude and mentality.
So you're already aggressive and looking for blood to drink.
No. We're already aggressive, making sure we don't make mistakes. That will cause us elections.
Yeah, but if you made mistakes in the past, that's the problem of your agents. You don't incite them now.
No. In the past, we didn't get our people to get themselves so committed. We didn't incentivize them to understand that your future destiny as a country, Ghana, this country from where this Nana Addo government has taken us, the future of this country, the future of our children and our children's children is at stake in these elections. So if you don't make sure that you work hard to make sure you restore the confidence of our future generation, this country is collapsed.
How different is do or die from all die be die?
A lot of difference.
Explain.
All die be die means that you can kill somebody, you can die through an accident, you can do everything. You yourself can get killed. It doesn't matter.
The same thing with do or die.
No, do or die means that you've gotten to a point where you see your objective as being successful or you perish.
The same thing.
No. Perishing in this situation doesn't mean you losing your life. Perishing situation means that you don't have any hope again for the future.
Okay, maybe my English is not good. Let's speak it in Ghana.
That's why Sidney Kita said that you should go back and get your English teacher.
Let's go to the Ghana language.
Yes.
Can you explain to someone watching us in Jamestown the difference between all die be die,
We've
which
used
you
it several
condemn?
times.
That's do or die.
Yes. Means that it is about you need to put yourself everything into it and be successful. Other than that, you don't have any hope.
And all die be die is what?
All that be done mogbe.
She's still a
No, that's what all that be done.
So that's the same thing. Do
It's
or
not
die.
the same thing. It's not.
Are you not sure that this could have been said in a better way, considering that John Mahama considered election twice? Once he was a president, he considered elections defeat.
But for the MPP people making so much carnage out of this, how many Ghanaians true Ghanaians, patriotic Ghanaians, how many knowledgeable Ghanaians would have seen this as any problem? And it's also because the media, you decided to give it a traction.
In communication.
And give opportunity to people who definitely will misconstrue the implications and the meaning of what he has said.
You are a student and teacher of communication.
Yes.
You know that once you communicate, you cannot uncommunicate.
Yes.
And you also know that when you are communicating, you should be wary of the words you use.
Yes.
This were deliberately chosen to cause the stir it is causing, wasn't it?
No, no.
To remind people that you're still there.
No. You see, the other side of communication that you have not seen is the fact that when you know what those words exactly means, how it is used, the phrase in which it's used, but you allow somebody to misinterpret and misapply it in another phrase, and you don't correct the person, you, the media man, will also give the person attention to misconception.
In what capacity is the former president asking you to go into 2024 with a do or die mentality? He's not your flag bearer.
He is our current immediate past flag bearer.
Former.
Well, you call him former, but I am calling immediate past flag bearer.
It's the same thing.
He's
no more your flag bearer.
Well, to me, as I sit here, as far as I'm concerned, and I know that with 137 members of parliament, that is our next flag bearer.
Don't have 137 out of what's the electoral college?
275 constituencies.
Yes.
I'm talking about 137 members of parliament who are leaders of their constituencies.
Oh, you think those MPs have...
We have resolved already.
Really?
Yeah, we have resolved.
So he's going to be your next candidate?
He's our next candidate.
If competitors come?
Well, anyone who comes, I don't care the number of people who will come, who will show their face, who will be courageous enough to come. They will not have anything more than 1%.
You do not see a competition against John Mahama winning?
We will be endorsing John Mahama as a candidate at the next Congress. I'm very sure about that.
You do not think you should change him?
Why should we change him?
Because he lost it twice?
Nana Akufo-Addo lost twice before he became president.
So that's
Bob Samuels lost twice before he became president.
That's your yardstick now?
So it doesn't matter. It's happened before.
Does it mean that the NDC has no one in its fold?
We have a lot of people, but he's the one we've marketed most. He's the one that Ghanaians trust most. People have come to see and appreciate the difference between somebody who believes in good governance, somebody who has a vision for this country, somebody who was desirous of serving his people in truth, in humility, and in a decisive manner. Somebody who is interested in taking this country from where he came to meet it to a better pedestal. And someone who just came for self-aggrandizement to satisfy his capricious belief that he was born to be president.
Are you sure you are going to be united into this election with this plan? Koko Anyido, who used to be director of communication in an NDC government, the one before the Mills government, you work with him. He doesn't support John Mahama. Well, he doesn't say that publicly, but his tweets and other comments that he makes clearly shows that he's not interested in seeing John Mahama at the top.
Well, you are talking about Koko Anyido, who is no more a member of the party as at now.
Yeah, but who was very close, and in fact, he was making heads roll when you were in government with him under Mills.
That's what you who perceived him, but he was nobody.
He was the man who was running the presidency.
Doing what?
He was director of communication. He was doing everything.
Director of communication.
He issued instructions.
Director of communication did not preside over me, director of operations. So he was not running the government.
He was seen. He was the face of the
That's
government.
what he wanted to project himself. And that's how people perceived him, but he was nobody in government.
He was powerful.
He wasn't powerful at all.
If he leaves your party now, you'll be in stitches.
Why?
Because he has a constituency.
Even the founder of the party is dead, and the party is alive. People who founded this party, people who shed their blood for the NDC from 1992 to today, most of them have died, and the party is still living.
Why do you think Koku is piecing in?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Koku is just like a vagabond child. And I wouldn't want to...
A wayward child?
A wayward child. I wouldn't want to discuss him at all.
He's not worth your time?
No.
You discovered him and gave him to Mills to work for him, didn't you?
Yes, because I saw him as a young guy with a potential.
You discovered a vagabond?
I can say that I won't take that away from him. Koku has his attributes. So he is wonderful when it comes to those areas. He did his job well. And I will always commend him for that. That's why I supported him to be Deputy General Secretary. But as far as the teachings of Professor Mills, the knowledge we are supposed to have acquired from him and the sort of experience that we are supposed to share after working with somebody like Professor Mills, I can say without any hesitation, he didn't learn anything.
Will you apologize to Ghanaians for inflicting on them a quote-unquote vagabond?
Why?
Because you brought him to us.
I'm talking about now. I didn't know he has those traits those days.
You were poor in discovering talents then.
No, I wouldn't say so. You could have 100 children in a class. One person will fail in an exam. It doesn't mean the whole class or you didn't do well in getting the best out of your students. It's the person's own attitude, behavior, mindset that will tell who the person will be and what the person should be able to achieve. Let me be frank with you. Even if today you ask me to recommend somebody for the sort of job that I recommended him for, I would do same again.
So you have
because I know he's good in that area. But that has nothing to do with his character and attitude and behavior.
It's the same thing. It's a human being.
Well,
a full package.
Yeah, but you can't claim perfection.
So
you can't claim perfection.
Can we hear the apology now for bringing?
Sandra, you have your traits. You have certain things about you that may not make you appeal to people all the time. So the same way with him, I want to say that I have learned something. Having worked with Professor Mills, I didn't used to be the sort of Nii Lante you know today. I picked something from Professor Mills which have made me a better person. I was expecting him to have come out after working with Professor Mills to be a better person. But he's rather drifting. And that's why I think that, as far as I'm concerned, if you consider the children of Professor Mills, he's a vagabond. This is
Face to Face on City TV. I'm interviewing the man who discovers vagabonds, Nii Lante Vanderpuye, his MP for Odorudio. My name is Umaru Sandam. When we come back, we'll talk about Ghana football, which is the main reason we're having this conversation. Of course, we are looking for a new Black Stars coach. Maybe he wants to take up that job. Don't worry.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We live in a world where news travels fast, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Fact Finder brings fact-checking from the newsroom up close so you can separate truth from chaff. Be empowered to tell what's fake from what's real. Watch Fact Finder by the BBC on City TV every Wednesday at 6 p.m. City TV. It's your world.
Welcome back to Face on City TV. My guest is former Minister for Sports, Edwin Nii Lante Vanderpuye. Were you surprised to hear C.K. Akon had been fired?
No.
Why?
Just last week, I was privileged to have been on a radio station and I was interviewed by Francis Aban. And I said that if I were in charge and I had that opportunity, I would have asked the whole technical team to step aside. And I was asked why. I said, well, I have not been convinced about their performance if they could take us to the World Cup. So, and I was at Cape Coast last week Friday, to watch the Black Star in Ethiopia match. And at the end of the match, let me be frank with you, 90% of Ghanaians who were at the match were convinced that we need to do something revolutionary if we want to qualify for the World Cup. So I wasn't surprised.
You expected that he should go?
I expected that.
Was it his problem or the team or was the whole... Okay, what's wrong with our sports structure and football in particular, Ghana Black Stars?
I'm happy you've said football because people tend to look at football being our sports. No. You see, Santa, I remember I've said once on City TV that the problem of Ghana today is not about availability of the human resource. It's about planning. Having that leadership to plan. That's the problem we have. You cannot plant cassava and harvest plantain. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Recently, we saw a young boy going to Tokyo and coming with a bronze. He didn't just get up and won the bronze. It's because we have set up an agenda for boxing promotion for the past 5 years, which led us to the building of the boxing arena. That was to inspire and to motivate people to drift towards boxing. If you go to our various gyms in Accra today, you see hundreds of young boys all interested in boxing. Hitherto, it wasn't like that. Today, Ghana boxing is on DSTV. Ghana boxing is everywhere. We are now having boxers coming from outside to fight here. So, you've planned to achieve something. Our coach, the boxing coach, because of long-term planning, we took him to Cuba. We also brought Cuban resource persons to train, impart knowledge into him. So we've built systematically. We won medals at the Commonwealth Games. We knew that getting close. The boxers who won medals at the Commonwealth Games are people that we planned, and we had a long-term plan for, the I-Quarters. When we're planning the I-Quarters regime, together with Amaka Amatefu and the rest, under the PNDC, we planned that in 10 years, we should have at least 2-3 world champions. And we had 4 with that regime. We had Azuma Nelson, Nanaya Konedu, Ebo Dankwa, and then later on we had, that's 3, and then we had I-Quarter coming in, and then Alfred Cobra Kote, all coming in. After them, we had planned a new generation made up of the Joshua Clotes, the Agbekos, and all those things to come up in the next 10 years. They came up, and we had 3 world champions from them. We've planned a new generation. Unfortunately, I'm no more close to boxing, but I would have told you that we planned new generation of the Duke Michaels, the Ishmetetes, and all. We planned. So we need to sit down critically and say, what do we want for our football? Let me give you an example. After the generation of the Abedi Peles, we started with the under-17, and we gave serious attention to it during E.T. Mensah's time. And we won under-17 world, Starlets 91. You understand? We got to 93 finals. 95 we won. And then we won bronze medal at Barcelona. So it was a progression, planning for the future. Let me ask you today as we sit. If the generation of the Ayus and the rest who won the World Cup under 20 in 2010, if they should face off, who are those?
2009, I think.
2009.
Egypt,
yeah, 2009. 2009. And they went to the World Cup in 2010. And then 2016. Stevie Appiah and the rest are all phasing out. Asamoah Gyan is phasing out. The Ayew and the Jordan and the rest will be phasing out. Who are those taking over?
So there's no futuristic plan?
No.
So the way we had the Audu Isaka period,
it's no more. We don't have
that
it
now.
We don't have it now.
It's not deliberate.
You see, people are thinking so much about what they will get out of the system and the structure than what the nation will get. Those days, we put those boys together because we're thinking about Ghana tomorrow. Let's bring these boys together. Let's give them the training. Let's develop them for the future. But now, Fred is developing his team with the sole purpose of selling players to make money.
That's it.
Sander is doing his with the sole purpose of, it's not about the national. You ask yourself, what is the nation itself doing? Because those boys, I would do secondary rest. We had them at Winneba. We started with them from under 12, developing them under 14. You remember, E.T. Mensah's time, we were playing the national under 12 championship. We were playing the national under 15 championship. We were playing the national under 17 championship. If you go to England, that's what they are doing today.
So it's easy to harvest from that pool.
Yes.
Now you have to go to the clubs.
You have to go to the clubs. You have to go to the so-called academies and pick up people.
Yeah, but it will still be our human resource. So even if, say, a second division club in Ghana sells someone, we can always go and bring that person
in.
You see,
if you go to England, for example, they have the England under 19, they have the under 21, they have the under 23 team. They are playing a very serious under 17, under 21, under 23 league. All the clubs have their junior sides. If you take for a club like Manchester City today, Phil Foden is from the under 21. He could still play for the England under 23. Recently, Mason Greenwood has been called to England national team, but he could still qualify to play for England under 23. So anytime they don't select him for the main English team, they send him to go and play in under 23 tournament. The same with Lookman and all those. So the system must have a plan that is structured towards an objective in the 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
So this should start from what, the secondary schools?
Anywhere. Course, secondary schools. Today we don't even have a structured sports program for secondary schools. The educational program itself is fractured. So where are you going to fix even a sports program? The educational structure in the country now is fractured. But that is where, because that is let me say, the adolescent age of every child. That's where you develop your talent. And the school prepares to give you the environment. Because most of these, when they go home, maybe you don't have the opportunity, they don't have the facility at home, or possibly the parents will even not allow them to get engaged in those things. Somebody like me, I was lucky I had parents who insist that you do your chores, but then you can still have your leisure. So I will go for my boxing training, all right. But if I have to go and carry water, fill the barrel, I will have to fill the barrel before I get the time to go for my training. The same with many of us. I remember very well when we were children, one boy was a very good player. Our team, we needed him to go and play a match. The team masters had to go home and pound the fufu for the mother so that they could have him. The mother said, no, he's the one who's going to pound the fufu. So if you're taking him away to go and play for you, then pound the fufu for me. So whilst we're playing the game, somebody was in the house pounding the fufu. That's how much.
So you have to put in efforts. So these efforts, you don't see them.
I don't see them.
But
no, so Sandra, you and I should ask ourselves, assuming tomorrow we don't have the day Ayo, who are those who are going to take over? Have we planned? Because the under 17, under 19, under 21, under 23, we are not really serious about them. We will still think that we can continue to I don't want to use a particular word I have used some time ago, which was not pleasant for people. Let me say under declare. I want to use the economic under declare, not under declare ages, and think that we can achieve results. We still think that we can falsify ages. Take people who are 20-something years to go and play under 17 and achieve results. No.
It won't work.
It won't work. This time we are lucky enough genetically, we are having children who even at the age of 12, 13 could have very good muscular development, physiques. All that you need is to now gather them and then you teach them the basic training, give them the basic training in football. Ball possession, how to kick the ball, how to stop a ball, how to chest a ball, how to head a ball, how to do all these things. Our time we were taught those things. You could kick a ball and your coach will call you and say, the way you structured your body, that's why the ball went up. Next time, lean forward a little. And all those things were taught. We were taught how to take a ball on the chest, how to turn with the same ball, how to give a pass with your chest, how to give a pass with your head. All those things you'll be taught at the basic level, at the course level. So you grow up with it. Today, sometimes I sit down and watch a Premier League, and the Premier League footballer cannot even stop a ball. He doesn't know which part of the feet to use to stop a ball, which is coming from the air, or which has been volleyed for him. Watch some of the English matches. A ball will be floated. Harry Kane will pick the ball on his foot, and it will be steady. Look recently the match, last time the match Manchester played against Newcastle. Look at the pass which was given Ronaldo. You saw how he swept the ball forward to give him an advantage over the defender. All those things are taught.
Is the scouting our problem? Because
it is also our problem.
I'm sure we have players across.
A lot of talent across the world.
So even if we're not deliberately training nationally.
I watch the English Football League, for example, a lot. And my belief was further grounded recently during the European Championship. I saw a player playing for Sweden and scoring 2 goals, called Quasin. I remember seeing that player 4 or 5 years ago. Doku is playing for Belgium. He's now being wanted by a lot of teams in Europe. There was about 4 or 5 other players playing for various countries. If our scouting was that good, we could have identified these players in the past and get them to play for Ghana. But do you know why? Most of these players are not managed by our so-called football sheikhs here in Ghana.
So they will not have the motivation to bring them.
Thank you. They rather will want the players they are managing to be called to a national team.
So it's money.
Yes, that's all. Individual
if my player gets called,
interest.
If my player gets called, I make the money.
Yes.
If we go and scout and bring someone from Sweden,
thank you.
Nobody benefits.
No.
I don't benefit,
No.
so I don't care.
No.
But who's to blame for that? The coach? The GFA?
The country must be blamed for it. We must have a structure that is not dependent on individuals. That's what Obama said, that we must build strong institutions.
So the
English coach doesn't call players to satisfy the whims and caprices of any individual. You understand? Recently, in spite of all the performance of Mason Greenwood, Southgate did not call Greenwood. Do you know what he did? He called Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and told him that the reason why I'm not calling Greenwood is that he has a potential. But the team we have today, if I even call him, he may not get some to play. So I want to give him more time to develop further. Let him build that anger to get into the national team. That's what he told Solskjaer, and Solskjaer understood, called his player and talked to him. In Ghana, they will not talk to the player if he's from Kotoko or Hasafo. They will rather talk to his agent. Because the agent will ask, why is my player not playing? Because that agent is part of the football team, the football administration.
So football administrators who also are agents?
Agents have taken over our football administration in the country.
At the national level?
At the national level. And the football management itself. You see, I don't subscribe to the idea that people who run football agencies should also manage our football.
You are either an administrator or an agent.
Thank you. We should have an administration.
But who's to blame
the agents should be back.
Is that an FA thing? And again, the FA will be the...
That is where our football has developed to. We are going on the wrong direction.
I thought...
Instead of the best practices elsewhere.
After number 12, when Kwesi Nyantakyi left, there were a lot of people who were like, this is the dawn of a new football era.
Nothing has changed much.
There's a new president.
It's not about the individual, it's not about the personality. It's about the structure. It's about the institution.
So old wine, new glass.
Maybe old wine in new wineskin.
You haven't seen any revolution at the GFA since the new administration took over?
Well, let me say this. When it comes to club management, I have not seen that much change. When it comes to the national team, what I can say well now is the promotion and the marketing side of our national team. That is going very well. And that is even going well as far as our national league is also concerned. And for that I will give the administration. But when it comes to the management of our national teams, I'm not seeing anything different.
And that's still an FA problem?
Yes.
They chose a coach. 2 years on, he's been to, in fact, less than 2 years, he's been asked to pack bag and baggage.
I remember very well, I made a comment which was not palatable to my very good friend and young brother, Kurt. Kurt, we've been close. Even when we're all in UK, we used to visit one another, together with the late Tony Amofa, Jan Pofaka, and all those, we are close. You know. They are young ones who try to study from us. You know, they took liking to some of us, and then they followed us. And I made a comment that I don't have a problem with Siki Akuno as a person. But as at the time he was appointed, I didn't believe that he had what it takes to be the national team coach. And I said, secondly, I know he's too close to the management team of Ket's private football management company. You understand? So I felt it was wrong for him. I could see an, let me say, an interest, conflict coming in there. So I didn't think he was the right person to be chosen.
From the onset?
From the onset, I said it. And today I've been vindicated. The truth of the matter is that CK needs more development. He needs more exposure. You can't coach Accra, Suffolk, Asante Kotoko, Ashanti Gold Dreams and say you are qualified to be the national team coach of Ghana.
Is that not a training ground?
It's a training ground, but you need more qualification. You see, you are just...
If you're going to be a national coach somewhere...
You are talking like all these boys who act as driver's mate for 1 year, 2 years, and the next moment is handling a bus. After you've been a driver's mate for 2, 3 years, it's not a bus that you have to drive. You should start from maybe taxi. Or maybe Aboboya and move to taxi. From taxi to the Zen Urban bus. Before you can move to Mami truck and before you can move to a bus.
Not to jump to a Metro Mass bus immediately.
No.
So the leap was too long.
Just I think too early. So the expertise, the composure, that tenacity to stand in the face of difficulty. Let me tell you, last Friday, I was sitting and watching the match. Halftime, I walked straight to Randy, Georgia Mwakong, and Kurt himself. I said, Kurt, can you talk to the coach to vary his style? Because I don't think he's using the right strategy for the match against Ethiopia. You can't be playing Ethiopia and be playing 4-4-2. You understand? So I said, can he play 3 back? So we can have more people, because the Ethiopians are not threatening our box. They were not coming forward. They were happy holding the ball. So all that we needed is to improve upon our numbers in the midfield, so we can put them under pressure. But we're not doing it. Let your wing backs move in. And it's a system most of these players are playing in Europe. So all that you, the coach, need is to tell them to vary the system they are playing on the field. If the first half you have played this system and the Ethiopians have gotten used to it, the second half confuse them by changing your own system. But he couldn't do it.
Is it that he was not independent?
Well, one person made a comment that, Nii, you are worrying yourself if you tell him because he won't listen to us. And I felt disappointed.
Because he was listening to other people?
You see, somebody will say that I was trying to interfere. No, but I also have some knowledge in football. I've played, I have managed, I've commented, I watch. So it's a suggestion you can always give. And after that match, I said, we have a problem. And then South Africa happened. In fact, I've never seen any Ghanaian national team play that abysmally like we did against South Africa. But the South Africans are not strong.
It was horrible.
Terrible. Terrible performance.
This is Face to Face on City TV. Nii Lante Vanderpuye was the Minister for Sports. He says our performance has been abysmal. Whom am I to challenge? Whom am I to challenge that position? When we come back, I'll ask him how we're going to find a new person, who that new person should be. White skin, black skin, doesn't matter. Don't go away.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
You're welcome back to Face on City TV. My guest is the former Minister for Sports, Nii Lante Vanderpuye. This 3-member team that has been asked to look for a new coach, if you were part, what would you be looking out for?
Well, first, let me say I don't really subscribe to that.
Really?
Yeah, because I believe that we have a technical directorate of the FA. When a coach has been removed, all that you need to do is to get an interim person to act. And then you give the team time to look for a substantive coach. You understand? This coach that you are going to look for, what is he going to do?
It's a state of emergency now. We need a coach.
So that's why you need to have an interim measure. All over the world, that's what is done. You get someone to act in the interim. Because we still have World Cup qualifying. And then you take your time to look for a coach.
Time no day.
But you see, right now, if you are bringing a coach, what will be the locus of the coach? What sort of, let me say, incentives are you going to give him? Are you going to get a job after acting? Are you going to do this? Are you going to get... all these things will be there. Or what is that? What is going to be the role of that coach? So you look for, most of the time in situations like this, you look for an experienced person to handle the thing in the interim. The person who is convinced of the fact that I am helping, I want to make something. It has happened all over Europe. It happens all the time. Then you take your time. If we qualify for the World Cup, fine. If we don't qualify, then you take your time and look for a coach with the sort of qualities you are looking for and with the program you have and objective you have in mind. What are we looking for? Possibly we could not qualify for World Cup 2022, but then we can qualify for the next World Cup.
You want to sacrifice the next World Cup?
What do we do?
To build our base.
Recently, I was listening to Stephen Kenny, the coach of Scotland. People were criticizing him. Is it Scotland? I think Ireland. What he said was that, look, he's called all these young boys because the 2022 World Cup is not his objective. And he's told the FA, the Irish Football Association, that 2024 European Championship is my objective, and possibly the next World Cup. That's why I have these young players, and all that I want them to do is to build that spirit in them that they are capable. We are in a group with France, with I think he mentioned one other country, and it is not something that you and I know that it will be easy for us to qualify. So if we know we cannot qualify from the group in which we are, then what should be our objective? Build a team for the next championship. Let them play at this time and get experience. They will have played against the Pole Bears. They will have played against all the stars. They will have developed the confidence in themselves for the future.
But the problem,
that should be an approach.
The problem in Ghana is that football is a political subject. If you don't qualify for the World Cup, that's Nana Akufo-Addo failing to take us to the World Cup. That's NPP's failing.
I don't want it to be that way.
That's how it will be interpreted.
Well, it shouldn't be.
You use it on the campaign trail.
It shouldn't be. That's why I heard a former colleague of mine, a very good friend of mine, I call him my brother, come out and say something, and I was so annoyed that he won't allow the coach to be sacked because the political future of his party is tied to the World Cup qualifying series. We should disengage football from sports, from politics. We should make sure that we look at football as football.
Your party bashed party supporters to go and watch football.
It's my party to my government that came out with a report that from that time on, no, the country should never do that again.
No problem. So you don't think that this 3-man squad to spend 3 days finding a coach?
The 3 days finding a coach is not good. What I'm saying is that the 3-man squad can be there. Give them an objective. Say, look, can you look for a coach for us who will come in, rebuild our national team, a coach of this quality, a coach of this standard, a coach that can really take a look at our football and rebuild our football. That's what I want you to do. But for the now, this is an interim measure we are taking. We are bringing in Moro Sanda to try and handle us. Umaru Sanda to take us through the World Cup qualifying series.
That would be a fatal mistake, though.
No, you see, for example, let me say, assuming we have people like the late Summer Days, or the late Osam Dodo, the late Afrani, and the rest.
You give it to them.
I would have said this is a time for one of them, with their experience, take us through the World Cup qualifier as we look for a permanent coach.
To be stable. So you don't think there's currently anybody in the league of the people you just mentioned who can manage us into the World Cup, at least for now?
Locally, I don't see any experienced coach. Because we are in a critical situation now. We may not qualify for the World Cup. We need to have a coach with a temperament and that sort of experience to be able to, squeeze us through if we want to qualify. So our next match against Zimbabwe is in about 6 weeks' time or something. In October. It is not something that we can just get up tomorrow and just bring somebody without that much experience to take us through. That would be disastrous.
I mentioned Kwesi Appiah. You don't think we should go back to him and say, Miyiri Dada if Sambewan?
Kwesi Appiah himself, you see, he's a nice gentleman. He's my senior in football. But he hasn't got that verve. A team like Ghana has to have that coach that has that demeanor, that invokes fire, that invokes passion in the players. You understand? At this moment in time, you need a coach cast in the mode of Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. You understand? Even Jose Mourinho. Ghana at this time doesn't need a coach like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You understand? Who is a gentleman, who is no.
Should we get the Haas coach or the Kotoko coach and say, can you manage the national team?
No. None of them. They are not qualified.
So you don't find anybody in Ghana now. I mean, if I ask you to name one person in Ghana as a coach for the Blasters, if you're a minister for sports today,
if you ask me, if I'm given the opportunity, I would have gone back to somebody like Salastete.
He's someone you could
yes. At this particular situation, I will recommend somebody like him to see what he could do. Look, the deputy to CK, David Duncan, even though he also has that sort of level of Ibrahim Tanko, who was deputy to Kwesi Appiah, has had some little exposure, has gone to the level of even assisting at the national team level. It's okay. But then, if really we're looking at the objective of qualifying for this World Cup, in the situation we find ourselves, the precarious situation we find ourselves now, you need an experienced hand who has that fire in him.
So we should go abroad
to push the boys. Look, I will have gone for, if you ask me in the interim, I will ask for someone like Renan Bernard.
Who is that?
The former Zambian coach who went to Cote d'Ivoire, won the cup with Cote d'Ivoire, and also Cameroon. I will also go in for the old Cameroon coach, for this Frenchman, Michel.
So you don't mind going abroad now? If
yes.
you were the minister, okay, if you were still the minister for sports today, what would you say to the GFA? And I'm not sure you can instruct them, you can advise them. But the government pays the salary of the coach, right? So you can,
yes.
So you have a say. Would you say, let's go abroad quickly and go and bring someone? Or you would propose
where we have gotten to, we are looking at an interim situation, interim solution. But if you're asking me to pick a coach for the future, that one, I don't have problem with Tanko and any of these our guys, because it's a long-term project.
Okay.
So that one, even you can also take the opportunity of sending them for further refresher courses to build them. So for the long term, I don't have a problem with the Tankos, with the even with Siki Akuno himself, and all the young ones coming up. Let's build them for the future. But then the interim situation we have today, we need an experienced hand to be able to get us out of the fire. This is not a time for an experiment coach. You can't achieve the result.
Do you think we should just ditch the whole World Cup campaign and focus on building, or you think...
I will subscribe to that.
Even though the fans will not be happy. Bukom will be dead.
No, you see, people should understand one thing.
We started going in 2006.
We cannot achieve results with this Fefrekobo mentality. Ajanatra, this Fefrekobo mentality. Invite players, assemble them, play a match and leave. That's all. You can't. We have good players who are under good coaches. Look at Amate. Look at this new guy who has come into the defense, Jiku. Fantastic footballer. Fantastic defender. They need good coaches. Like the coaches who are handling them out there. To even build confidence in themselves. But if the person is under Brendan Rodgers, and the person comes to the national team, and is Siki Akuno. You understand? Okay. One, the person sees himself, Siki Akuno, what team did he play? Dortmund. I'm playing Leicester.
So that also plays a role.
Yes, you're talking about a human being. The psychology is there.
So you can't have a manager who you believe is below you, or you don't think that...
The manager himself might inspire confidence. One of the reasons why I talked to some Manchester people, do you know what they said? The reasons why, even though they knew they didn't have a good team 2 years ago, but they are doing well, they still qualified for UEFA and all those things, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is there. And the players, when you get into the Manchester Museum, they always see his picture.
So there's an inspiration, some motivation. So the respect is there.
You understand? This is somebody who has done it before, higher than our level. So they'll listen to him. When he tells them something, they will listen. I was just having a discussion with one of our football, I won't mention them. But this is somebody who is being coached by a World Cup winner, somebody who played in English football and played in one of the best teams ever in the English Premier League. In fact, the team played unbeaten. They were called the Invisibles. And he's playing under him. So, on the field, whatever the person says transmits to him, he takes it very serious. But if you're not careful, as a human being, what do you know?
So that you know.
It's important. Look, when you get the players of a particular standard to play your national team, the level of your coaching must also be the one that will inspire them.
We are told the coaches don't even get properly paid. The payment too is in arrears. All of that would be part of the motivation. So even the coach himself is not probably motivated.
Well, I've heard so many things like that. Well, even during my time, we also had that problem. We were lucky that at that time, GMPC were paying the coach. So I don't know what arrangement is still there now for the payment of the salary of the coach. But I think that if we are planning well, let's say we are planning, want to build a national team and also have a structure of the teams in the lower categories for future of Ghana. And this is what we want to achieve. In the next 20 years, we want Ghana to win a World Cup. We want the under-20s to win the World Cup. We want the under-17 to win the World Cup. We want our women to win the World Cup. So what technical structure should we have? Who is that person when we bring in? We'll stay at the top there as the technical director of the Ghana Football Association, and we'll draw up technical appraisals and programs for the rest of the technical people we are going to employ for the Black Stars, the Black Meteors, and all the national teams. Yeah. So then when you have somebody, but if you bring in a coach, for example, and the coach is like me, if I have knowledge, and then you go and bring me a technical director like Umaru Sanda, who has no knowledge, who is not level me, what are you going to do?
It will be horrible.
That's the thing.
Let's end it here on this very horrible note. The Honorable Nii Lante Vanderpuye is a former Minister for Sports, MP for Ododo Diodio. He doesn't find our football management any exciting. But though the hunt for a new coach is on, you never know, they may just settle on me. Keep watching Face to Face on City TV, and if you don't see me next week, it's because I've become the new Black Stars coach. Stay with us. City TV, it's your world.